It is week 27 and we enter the second half of this project. Here you find me just being hot and spicy, and
so I'm just filming the shirt a bit when you said hot and spicy.
What's wrong with the shirt? The shirt makes me look sexy. I'm convinced of that. I know I'm a fantasist as well, but right, so we're doing sweet peppers. And
makes his belly stick out.
Oh, you're the third person that said that. I'll be getting the bloody syndrome. Does it really? Does my belly look big in this? The Royal Horticultural Society have said we are in crisis. The industry is lacking youngsters coming through. This is Eggleston Hall Gardens, and over the next 12 months we're going to take you on a journey of what it's like to run a nursery garden. Just coming round the border this morning, you forget that things happen so quickly. You look at something in the garden and you look at it every day and you forget about it, and then it just sort of sits there, and then all of a sudden it does its thing and you don't even realize. This is a peony called Bowl of Beauty, and it really is the most lovely peony. It's probably been in flower a few days now, but I haven't actually noticed it. Well, probably haven't been round here. It's a lovely plant, and just to in front of it, starting to develop its flowers, is the pokeweed, or this is Phytolacca americana, and these spikes of flower get to about a couple of feet long, 60 centimeters, and then they gradually develop sort of a line of berries. It just becomes sort of inky black berries, just a spike of them. It's a very, very nice plant, and it's pretty easy. There is a variegated form of it, but that's I think that's bloody horrible, and it's a good lump weaker as well. The Physocarpus in the background, this will just be Diablo, I would think, and it's I can't be dead certain of the variety. It's a long time since I planted it, but it's coming into flower now. But it's primarily grown for its nice dark foliage, but it's still a very pleasant plant. I would like to say that the peony was strategically placed to be shown off by the dark foliage of the the other thing, I've forgotten its name now. Physocarpus. Anyway, I've never strategically placed a plant in my life, so I can't say that. Down the path here, either side of the path, there are some nice big clumps of Geranium magnificum, and in the background is another Physocarpus, and this one's, well, it's flowering really well, and it's in almost permanent shade here. It really doesn't get a lot of sunlight because of the great big beech up there. much as the other side of the drive. The wind again has got up, which is quite nice because it's very, very hot at the moment. And over here, there's a very nice lupin. I'm going to save some seed off of this. I have absolutely no idea what variety it is, but I like that combination of purple and yellow. So I'll probably save seed on that. And there's another nice one here of similar ilk. Must start selecting these plants that we want to collect seed from so that we get a nice mix of colour. Otherwise they will revert to the orange. There's a young seedling of Rosa glauca. I'm very keen, I'm not a great lover of roses, but Rosa glauca I like. It's a single pink and white flower, but very, very nice. There's a very nice eryngium here. This would be alpinum, and that's coming on. That will, in the end, turn very, very blue. It's a lovely plant. And there's a ligularia, Britt Murray Crawford. Orangey yellow flowers, like daisies. Yeah.
So I'm just working through some of the last bits and bobs of young perennials that we have just kicking about. But then this one is well, it's more like a border Clematis or herbaceous, where it's more of a sub-shrub really. We just had it brought in. Christine, who works here, brought some in that she dug out of her own garden, just a clump of it, and I thought I might as well, instead of just potting the whole thing up, try and split it down a bit, and it seemed to come away and actually work quite nicely. I think it's Clematis hericifolia or something along those lines. I don't think it's tubulosa. It's the other one.
I thought it was Hendersonii or something. Oh well.
Yeah, Hendersonii is that really trailing one.
Right.
Is it Clematis diversifolia Hendersonii is the really trailing one. This one is Clematis hericifolia. Hericifolia.
Right.
I definitely didn't Google it.
I will add that as a caption.
Yeah. But that's the type it is, and it's one of the ones, it's nicely behaved, just forms a nice clump in the border. And it's got quite different flowers. I wouldn't even know what to compare them to, because I don't know that there's a Clematis, like a climbing one with similar flowers.
Well, there isn't. It's a totally different sort of flower, isn't it?
Different. I wouldn't even know what to compare it to.
So what else have you got on your barrow?
Just some more interesting bits, some lobelia, some Campanulata, that 2 cream purple tails, which is some seedlings we pricked out last year. And then yeah, the Asclepius, I think this one it's a milkweed. This one is just called the orange milkweed.
Yeah.
Yeah, pleurisy root. It's one, when I was doing the write-up, it's from North America, and it's thought to have a load of healing properties that the the native Indians used to use, and it's apparently very good for bees and butterflies, very attractive to them.
It is, actually. When we've had difficulty getting into flower in the past, these have actually got flower buds coming. It's like an orangey flower. Yeah. I actually quite like it, but it does prove difficult in pots. But it's nice. But you reckon it's got lots of medicinal purposes?
Yeah. This is called pleurisy root. Right. What is pleurisy again? I know it's a condition, but...
Yeah, I think it's like water on the lungs or something. So I think it's a lung problem.
And then yeah, just these little last few bits of perennials that we'll do, and I'm going to try, when I come to doing it, try taking some more cuttings of these. I'll probably film and show you.
That's that, is it? It's a Nepeta,
Blue dragon.
Blue dragon, yeah. It is actually quite nice.
Lovely flower. Bloody stinks.
Is it?
Not the flower, the plant. When the stem and leaves, it just stinks.
Well, yeah.
Bloody horrible.
Don't tell people that, they won't buy the fucker. It is nice, I like the Nepetas. And the bees love them. This Delphinium Molly Buchanan is a wonderful blue. But that's not the plant I'm wanting to show you. This is the paperbark maple, Acergricium. Look up through the branches and it's a lovely thing, but it's the shedding bark that's so unusual. This is the plant I want to show you. This is Regersea. You can grow this in damp places, but you pretty grow it anywhere. It's Regersea pinnata superba. Wonderful thing. And there's a whole range of Regerseas you can get. It's also worth growing them from seed. This over here, next to the old room, which is now going past its best. Do you remember we looked at that earlier in the year? This is false goat's beard or false astilbe, and this is oh God, I'm having one of those moments again. It's Aruncus, probably Aruncus dioicus. But it's about 5 or 6 foot high. But it has these lovely, like, astilbe type plumes. Very, very nice, very dramatic. I'd update you on the old black Delphinium. Here we are. It's completely changed its colour now. And there it is against a white one. Interesting as opposed to beautiful. Is anyone doing anything interesting?
No.
No.
Thomas has got a lovely little plant.
That's that iridescent bells, isn't it?
Yeah,
Campanulata.
there's one flowering.
For sale, it's nice.
There's one flowering at the front. It's quite nice.
It's a bit flaccid.
Mm.
You're going to chop it off?
Oh, it's a bit extreme, isn't it? Doesn't that only happen when you get your 60s?
This is the variegated one.
When you get your 60s, isn't it?
You might as well chop it off. Now,
tell Malcolm what you call it.
Vomit leaf. Yeah,
Vomit leaf.
I've had this in the last video. Yeah, it's one of the variegations. It's like it's spattered with vomit rather
did
than.
we do this one last week?
Yeah, people have already seen this, Malcolm. You're getting repetitive now.
Oh, well, there's no point
Don't
putting
be
that
boring,
on,
people.
Yeah. There's a couple of plants here that I particularly like. This here with the Trompenberg in the background, that's the maple, and there's a Colquitzia and an acer called Orange Dream in the background as well. This is a lilac. We've been doing it for years now, and it's quite a rare one. It's a variegated Himalayan lilac, and I love the leaves on it. It's easy to cut back. It comes back really well if you reduce it right down, so you don't have to have it 12-15 feet, which is how it would grow. You can just stall it back. It's called Syringa emodii Oreo variegata, and these leaves are like the size of kippers. I'm not sure if you have kippers in America, but no matter, it's like a good sized leaf. Yeah, it's nice. It's lovely. The flowers are white, nothing to write home about, but it's this lovely foliage. It grows well in the shade. If anything, the foliage is more pronounced. The colours are more pronounced in the shade. If we go into the heart of the bush here, you can see where it's shady inside. Although this is quite a shady corner, and probably a little more washed out on the top into the shade. Yeah, it's a very nice thing. Himalayan lilac. And here is a Campanula. Now I like this Campanula. I love the flower of it. This is a Persicafolia Campanula. They're a lovely Delft blue colour. I really find it a very pleasing plant. The only trouble is you need to grow it through something, because the foliage can look a bit wishy-washy and they can topple over quite easily. But I like them because they seed around all over the place. They come up in various colours. And when we eventually sort this garden at sunny side out, we will make sure that we keep plenty of them seeding around all over the place. Really like them. Anyway, I think it's time we've had a quick visit down to Dorset and saw Matthew this week. They're in the middle of their potting season, building up to a lot of propagation work, and we'll have a quick visit, see what the old bugger's up to.
Action! These are the little seedlings that you saw sowing probably early March time, something like that. And then we showed you when they came up. Well, now they're at this stage. A couple of particularly small ones. You see lots of lovely fibrous root on them, which will really give them a good head start when they get potted. This is a mix that we do ourselves. We have tried buying it in, but it's just too bloody variable. This is 2 parts the coarsest peat I can possibly find, and 1 part of potting bark, which comes from Melport. I'm slow at this because I don't do this. And that's basically, bearing in mind that that was a handful of seed back at the end of February. We stick these in the arm. And then behind the cameraman, camera woman, Laura. These were potted 2 weeks ago. Just a fraction over 1,500 in each block. And if the camera person comes down here, you'll see that they are now just breaking away. They normally sit there for up to 2 weeks and do nothing, which obviously in that time they're making root. Guarantee there's no root on the one I tap out. Yeah, sod rule. So, from when they're potted, all things being equal, a lot of it's up to them. You're normally looking 6 weeks and we'll start selling these. We can get, I think it's about 12, 13,000, hang on a minute, 22, 23,000 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, nearly 8, so there's only 12,000 in here already. We need around about 40,000, so the rest of them also go next door. These, something else that we grow, the monkey puzzles. These were sown, I don't know when I did these, October? Yeah, somewhere around then. We shut them in a glass frame, stop the bloody squirrels stealing them, because the little nut that they come from is awfully tempting to a squirrel in the winter. And then once they're up, they come in the tunnels. And then we sell them.
This might cheer you up, Malcolm.
Yeah, it might take away the pain of your tooth, mate. That's the squirrel feeders I was on about. I didn't design it, I just copied it off somebody on YouTube. It's very simple, mate.
There's the hole.
There's the hole, that's where you put the food in there. I just made, these are gravel boards left over from the fencing job. So, you can see the basic principle, can't you? Down here, I have no idea, so I just made a hole. You can always make it bigger or make it smaller, can't you? That's your little feed tray. I think I might have made the feed tray a little bit deep, because the idea is that there's not enough room to the sit, like facing that way or facing that way. You want sat, so they're sideways on. So you can either do a head shot or you can do a chest shot. But it can all be changed. There you go. You could build one of those, look, and keep your gamekeeper friend happy.
Easy.
At least now you know what I'm talking about.
You probably don't realise that the Clematis are a member of the buttercup family, Ranunculaceae. But I want to show you this one Clematis that's really unusual, and it's fantastic for growing up through roses and shrubs, and it's one of my favourite. I've got it alongside a Jasmine Stephanense, I think this one is, or is it Besianum? I can't remember. It's one of the two, either Besianum or Besiana and or Stephanense, but I'm pretty sure it's Stephanense. It's a lovely pink jasmine. It has no flower, but the Clematis itself, look at these flowers. They are beautiful, and it flowers from midsummer, and it will flower for a very, very long period, right through till autumn. And it's really strange that the petals, or the tepals or sepals, which if you're a purist you want to call them, they are almost become like leaves. They are green tipped. It's not abundant at the moment, but it will be. It is a really, really lovely Clematis. It's quite vigorous, and it has these, you can see in the middle, it has these like purple stamens. It's a lovely thing. Yeah, I'm not getting in focus here, am I? Yeah, beautiful. That was a lot of fannying about, but we got there in the end. Yeah, so that's Clematis luxurians alba. Another little plant that's coming into its own. It could be held up because it's fallen over here. It would be about 5 feet. This is Clematis rector. It's not a climbing Clematis. It's a little border Clematis, and it's fallen over here with the rain. It would be about 4 feet tall, but it's a lovely purple colour. The foliage is purple in the spring, and you get these masses of starry white flowers. The foliage is still quite nice. You can see young foliage always comes through purple. Some people cut it back when it gets high. They cut it back and then it comes through again. There's those red bells of the thingy. God, I don't know what's wrong with me. You can see in this vegetable garden that these beans, these runner beans, are getting right up to the top. So what I'm having to do is extend with some extra canes, and it's just a simple method of just weaving them through a stock fencing and just weaving them up, and they'll be fine. And then the beans can go up an extra foot or two. Over here you can see This was only done 2 or 3 days ago. 3 days ago. And already the beans have found their way around. And they will. They'll grow up more. And just to look at this vegetable garden now, sprouts we will have to, we will probably put canes in those. The cauliflowers are doing fine. Let me have a little wander here. Some of the lettuce are bolting, the ones in the middle, but we can just pull those out if they're bolting. But the ones inside, let's have a little look at this. You can see that that is just a really nice little hearted cos lettuce. Look at that, beautiful. I can eat that. He's like a rabbit. And you could finish it off with a bit of spring onion. Try not to break it off like I've done. Another thing about rabbits at the moment. Sweet corn, doing all right. The peas, if the cameraman could sort of hand backwards, or should I walk fast? The peas are doing really well. Masses of pods. Broad beans behind you here. You can see broad beans are podding up like nobody's business. They were going to be excellent. There's plenty of beans there, and they seem to like being in this pot. Courgettes, I picked the first lot today, and they're doing okay. The leeks, they're fine. And then it's just carrots and beetroot. These old parsnips have come on really well. I'm just going to let them just go on. I think they'll be fine. It'll be interesting to see the root at the end of it. But all in all, I'm very, very happy with it. It's been very good. God, all I can taste is onion. Give us a kiss. All right, we'll get the gun. Come on. Good stuff.
Hello. We had some bronze fennel here last year, and it's meant to seed everywhere, and it has. I have it at home and it doesn't seed. But
why doesn't yours seed?
I've no idea.
Right.
I don't imagine anything would eat it.
No.
Apart from people.
I wouldn't eat it. It's one of them bloody herby things.
You can put it in salads.
Right.
You put the leaves in salads, but they taste a bit like they're a bit like hair when you eat them. So you have to cut them quite fine to get away from the hair
right.
feeling as you swallow them. But apparently you can, when it flowers, fancy people sprinkle a pollen onto dishes, I've read.
A pollen?
A pollen, something like that.
Yeah.
Like as a dust. So, they do have tap roots. So they are a bit tricky, but this thing is really good. You could use something like this or a daisy grubbers for good. But you just want something to... And then you've got the full.
Yeah.
And we'll pot these up. It's ornamental as well. If you want, it's quite a nice thing. It's a light, airy thing.
I'll come and film me when you pot them up then.
It's actually quite easy.
Yeah. We'll have any amount of them because they do sell really well.
It's hardy, mine always come.
It's very exciting, Elizabeth.
Very.
Your first week back this week, isn't it?
Yes. Never stopped raining.
Lots of rain.
These are some of my, these are the bigger ones of the Fennels. See, they've got quite a decent taprooty job. So they don't want a lot of room. So I'm putting them in these round, what do you call them?
9 centimetre round pots.
So they get the depth but not necessarily the volume. And we'll keep an eye on them. I've moved some at home before and they were a bit tricky. So that's why I'm being a bit cautious maybe. I think you can eat fennel seeds. Use them in, do you use them in cooking?
I don't know. I've never used it because I don't like its aniseedy taste. You know,
I don't know if the seeds are the seeds as well.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, they do use fennel seeds.
Yeah,
Yeah. Same thing, aniseedy.
the same taste. Yeah. So there we go. We'll leave these, see what happens.
Yeah.
Nothing lost.
There's always
nothing gained.
there's always a problem with these big taproot things, and the foliage extracts too much moisture out of the root before the fibrous roots form. But you'll be all right. We'll see.
I was going to say snowflake.
We're unlikely to sell out, but
We often leave things that are self-seeded
Yeah.
because they're nice, but these get like
Too big.
so big they just flop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we might have left them if it was, but so we may as well have a go with them.
Yeah. There's nothing to be lose. Otherwise, it's just got to be sprayed off or. Rain, rain, go away, come again, another day. Oh, it's dreary, 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 dreary. That's a beautiful Delphinium, isn't it? It's just called Min. Well, look at these great big cephalarias, hammered down with the rain. I'm going to have to cut these off the path because it's difficult to get through. Some of the delphs that we put into, this is Moonbeam. Perhaps next year they will take them out of these stock wire supports and harvest them, at least half of them, for buds. They haven't made as much growth as I would have liked, mainly because they got clobbered by rabbits at one stage and it was so dry earlier on in the spring. There's a lovely campanula there called Wedding Bells. It's a beautiful thing. I sell out of this every year. This is a thing that self-sells seeds. Some people call it valerian. I know it as set wall because it grows in walls and things, but it's Centranthus. This is Centranthus alba, spelt with a C. Some people say Centranthus. There's another Delphinium. That's Loch Ness. That's a pretty thing as well. The Actinidia's it's going its deeper pink now. The Clematis tangutica has got both the old man's beards and the lanterns on it. So, what with lockdown, it's hard to understand how quickly the year is going. These are a load of hydrangeas we've had to buy in because from some other nurserymen because we've run out of our own. But unfortunately they're underpotted because they grow them on in big glass houses full of, and they're watered with fertigation, where the fertilizer is in the irrigation system, so it's absolutely perfect for them. Well, we don't have that here, so they're having to be moved up, which is what... Oh, where's she gone? Oh no, not more little bloody canes. Oh, I hate them canes. Go on, show us what... They are quite rooty, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, they're decent. Yeah, so we're just potting them up to just keep them going for the rest of the year, really. Because if we left them in these pots, they'd just end up being a nightmare to water. Just... Some of them, we're not going mad with some of these little ones, angels. Plus, I'm just going to pop them into 5s. I'll just take a bit off the... scrape the bottom a bit. And then put them into our taupe pots.
I still call it top.
Yeah, and you're still wrong.
Yeah, taupe is a fish.
Things could be the same names and be different things, Malcolm.
Rows. Rows of things. Fish rows. Oh,
Thomas has picked all the hydrangeas that you don't have to write the descriptions for.
I wrote the descriptions for mine. I just...
Is that what you did? Left you to write all the hard ones?
He even wrote the name at the top, so I thought it was on, and then I clicked on it and there was nothing there. I got distracted with the customer and I couldn't be asked to go back.
Wow. Fancy leaving somebody else to write up your plant descriptions. Chose the easy ones.
I didn't choose these. I still had some write-ups to do.
Oh. Will they not stand up without them canes in there?
I asked your wife.
Oh, God.
You know I don't like canes.
I fucking hate canes.
You know I'm the person who hates canes the most.
Oh.
I will not cane something if I can help it, but...
Never mind.
Probably would. You don't know, do you? You just don't want to make them look ridiculous, do you?
They are quite sort of lush growth, aren't they?
You were going to say sappy then, weren't you?
Yeah, I was going to say
You were
sappy.
going to say sappy.
Well, they are sappy. Right. Now, we've been through this before, but it is a part of our year, so we have to explain to you that we're starting on Delphiniums. One of the reasons we're starting on them a bit earlier this year is because the dormant buds are breaking earlier. You can see here, these are not as I would like them. You can see there are 1 or 2 smaller ones, but they're breaking away far too fast and too early. It must be a climactic thing. But anyway, every year we save back somewhere between 3 and 6 of these pots. They're not for sale, and each Delphinium is grown on until usually about the end of July. Now, in the past, I think I've shown you how to do them out of the ground, but we work from pots mostly until the outdoor clumps have grown on a bit. So we just need to get rid of some of this outer stuff. This is actually a 7.5 litre pot. You can trim away quite a lot of the older stuff. What we'll do is keep that for the vegetable pots next year. If you look down here, what I'm doing is turning the old compost bags inside out so that they're black, and then just filling it up with old potting compost. We'll tie them off in the winter, and then at the end of the year, and then they can stand outside and we'll use it next spring in the vegetable pots. So you really want to get into these roots quite scraping right down. You can see these little scrapers are really handy. I've said before that wolf tools are really quite useful. I quite like using them. So this is quite effective. Now you can see in here, there's lots, this one root is yielding quite a lot of. So I'm just going to break it open into 3 or 4 pieces. Go down into the heartwood so that you're not slicing any buds, and just get your knife in and twist it. And you'll find that these will separate off. You see all these lovely dormant buds around here. So, and there is another one. So what we do now, I would normally take these to the stream, but at the moment I'm just using a bucket of water just to clean them up. We'll do this in real time again, like we did with the hostas last week, because I know this is on there, but it is a part of our year, so you really do need to see that. And there we are. It doesn't look like there's much there, but it's a good yield of buds. You can see here, there's some big ones there. There's a very small one there which we can use, and yeah, they'll be fine. There's probably, well, I can't actually see any on that piece. Oh, there's maybe one there. So that's, you get bits like that sometimes, old corky bits. The root is really irrelevant. It's just the bud and a little bit of the base plant that you want. You can see there's 4 or 5 there. So we'll add those to the bin. We've got one more pot to do. We had 6 pots of this one. This is a variety called Faust, and it's a really nice dark blue. In fact, we'll go and have a look at it. This is, so we're in the middle of a couple of days of rain, but this is the colour of Faust. It's a lovely thing. Really, really deep blue. We could actually use, if we were stuck for buds, we could use these 3-litre pots, which were actually last year's crown buds. They would yield about 4 or 5 pots, 4 or 5 buds. Yeah, that's about it really. Before you start, normally we would cut the Delphiniums back, and so the buds start to break and fatten, and this is usually late July. But you can see this year, it's only the 3rd of July, and they're already breaking away. So there is no reason for it other than the year. So we've harvested all out. Oh, so it's just run down the back of my fucking neck. It's bloody drip, it's raining here. I'm not in a good mood today. Anyway, you can see all these little buds on here, and we're just going to separate these buds out. Now I usually just cut in half with my secateurs. You need really sharp secateurs for this. You can use a scalpel as well, so sometimes we use a scalpel. Just get in there, break it in half, and you can see There's one big bud and there's a little one by the side. So I'm just going to have that one by the side. I hope you can see this. Is this all right? And I'm just going to go down there with a scalpel. There we are. There's a little dormant bud there. And I've even got a little bit of root here. Not absolutely necessary. And there's one on that side. I don't need all that root, so I'm just going to take that off. It's a nice big bud. And we'll have a little look round this one. Yeah, there's buds all over here. There's a little cluster of buds there, which I'm just going to... You know, they're hardly worth separating, so we'll chuck those in as one. And you can see, get rid of some of this root. And you can see in here, there is 1, 2, 3, 4. And although it looks very small, it will actually be... There we are. Let's break that root off. There's the little bud. And that will make a nice little plant. Within about a month to 6 weeks, go down just, you're taking like a little shield of the heartwood off. And there's another one. And because this is a variety, I'm just going to trim that up. You can see there's 2 buds here. There's one that's sort of clustered around the other one. Now, if you're too greedy, you can lose them both. But you need to know what you're doing. But you can get in with a scalpel and just separate that off. You see that? And then there's a really nice big one there. And here we have our buds. I've got a few more to go at. So when I finish those, we'll start potting them up. There's not much to say this week. It's going to be a short one. And there's nothing we can do about that. It's what with injuries and gales, constant. We've had 2 gales and today has been horrendous. We have so much stock that's lying down, damaged, and it's just not worth putting it up. And most of my week has been involved with propagating Delphinium, so where I've been able to, of course. It's just been a question of come on, docs. A question of just knuckling down to that. So there's not a lot of variation this week. Keeping out the bad weather, dealing with customers, and doing bloody crown buds. This is a nice little order going over to Cumbria tomorrow. It's freed up some space. What amazes me is that we can sell lots and lots of plants, and you look around and you think, well, where have they all gone? You know, there's no space really. We look to have as much as we've ever had. If you don't know this, this is a primula called Primula vialii. Really unusual. Hey, this weather is driving us crackers. The pots that we got in last Friday, it's Sunday evening now and I'm about to pack up. But the pots that we got in, we've sold over half of them. People have gone potting. Here's one of those nice ABs, you know, the early start ones. Picea ABs, not ABs, sorry, Picea ABs. I'm very fond of these. I just love the new growth, and it lasts for so long. It works well in this little border. And round the back here is a plant that I go on about an awful lot, just above the head of this stream, and that's Picea Skylands. It's it's a wonderful thing, and it'll take on better colours later on in the year when this foliage starts to, it sort of goes bicoloured. Can't explain it, you need to see it. A plant that grows really well, it self-seeds around here, these gardens, and that's the mullein, Bascom nigrum. This is just a self-seed. It's grown up through the middle of this maple, as is the eryngium. And I'm not a person that particularly, if I see something nice somewhere, I just leave it. I can always get it out at the end of the year. And the Bascom nigrum mullein, very attractive to the mullein moth, and it does well. The album is exactly the same, except that as the flowers are white with the same purple eye. More self-seeds these have been here for hundreds of years. This Campanula, they seed all over the place here. Yeah, some of them go 5, 6, 7 feet, and you can see the variability of the sowing of the seed, because by the stream side here you've got these lovely violety sort of ones right next to. You can see why it's called lactifolia, because it has this milky white quality to it. But you can see this one's, they've all self-sown, and that one's sort of a mauvey colour, and this one's milky white, and that one looks like it might be a slightly darker blue. But if we see a really unusual colour, we will just propagate it. It's important that we do those things. There's some there are some Primula from Primula Florida, the giant Himalayan cowslip, which does really well. Over the back here is some of the Primula Floridas. They've just grown in that nursery bed. And here we have some more self-seeds. A little Campanula, I think that's one called White Poof, or White Puff. You've got to be careful how you say that, or you get in trouble. I say puff, some say poof, or some say poufet. I don't know. I had this disagreement with Matthew earlier in the year, whether you say nugget or nougat. I'm particularly a nugget person. Matthew, surprisingly, because he's not posh, is nougat. Yes. The apples are forming well on this pergola. These are Katie. Another month or them, and we'll be picking those, and everybody will be going, "Oh, have you got any of that lovely red apple?" Another month, and we'll start cutting back this extension growth and the summer pruning on the stepovers. We're just having a wander because I've been doing so much ordinary stuff this week. We're just having a little walk around the garden to try and make it a worthwhile length of video. Niphofias. Can't remember which one that is. Some wonderful things starting to grow in on the wall. These berberis. Have a little wander up here. There's some young ivies. Some young Trachyospermum. That's a very nice jasmine as well. That's one called Sunbeam. It's a nice golden yellow foliage. There's one there called Clotted Cream. I think that's supposed to have a variegation to the foliage. I'm not sure. If it is, it's not right. Hollies. It's just as well Thomas isn't doing this, because he gets overtly excited when he's going along his little conifers. There's spireas, more spireas. That's a very interesting little plant. This is a little shrubby salix called it's a Salix integra, and it's called Hakuro Nishiki, and it has that really vomit-inducing variegation that some people like. It also has a pink twang to it as it grows. Don't know what eucalypt that is. Very soon, in the next week or two, alpines. I think the gale is making this. These are Physocarpus, all different varieties. I've looked at these before, and they really are quite nice. There's one that's very orange and yellow, and a different orange one, purple and brown. I can see why, and there's a nice variegated one. Yeah, and the Berberis again. Some of this stuff now could go back down. It will need repotting before the season's out. Some of it will just carry on till next spring. But people can still buy it as a young plant and grow it on themselves. It's a much more economical way for people to do it. Not everybody has got lots of disposable income. Okay, I think we'll draw this to a conclusion. It's next to impossible to film anything. It's been like this all day, most of yesterday, and I'm cold and tired and I'm grumpy as fuck, so I'm going home. One of the plants that I did want to show you, despite the gale, is this. This is the rose I was telling you about that is a seedling of Kiftsgate. It's about, I'd say 12, 14 feet tall. And it's over an old apple tree. The stump was there and I just left it because I don't like getting rid of old stumps of things if I don't have to. One, it's hard work to get the root out, or you've got to leave it there and you get honey fungus. So if you're going to do that, you might as well use it and grow something over it, as we've done with the Clematis at Eggleston. But I love this rose, probably because I've grown it from a seed. I think you get something more out of them. I am sorry about this wind. I don't know if you can hear this. Some very nice ferns there. I don't know what they are. Been in my garden for years. This is a yellow magnolia called Yellowbird. Hostas. I think one is called Hadspen's Blue, and the other one is I don't know, a variegated one. The wind has brought down part of this cereus, maple cereus, Asus cereus. In fact, it's split right out at the bottom. Well, it's not, it's come from this side, about 2 foot up. Hadn't realised that. That's a bugger. This weather. You know, the worst thing about winds this time of the year is that they are so, the leaves are so, the trees and the shrubs are so foliated, they've got so much foliage on, that it just It just gives so much resistance and things break. Never mind. I'm going to work my way down amongst the jungle now. I'm looking forward to this project at Sunnyside because I'm a little bit fed up. It's like going on a trek going down this garden this time of the year. You never know what you're going to find. Oh, look, there's my fork. Smacked in the face with the branch. Physocarpus. Now, I wonder what's round here and in this shed. Maybe for another day.
Welcome. You've agreed to do a bit of a health and safety advert
yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a bit about maybe what you might not do with a naily stick?
Well, if you see, well, you wouldn't wave it about at anybody.
No.
And if you see the dogs have caught a rabbit and it's in distress, you might want to sort of bash it on the head, as you would any normal human being would. Well, you wouldn't want to, but you would be kind to.
Yeah, that is thoughtful.
It's best to actually not miss the rabbit.
Yeah.
And not use one of these.
Because of the nail.
Because of the nail.
Yeah, that could do some damage.
Yeah.
So just in case anyone was idiotic enough to hurt themselves with that, you just want to warn them.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
You know, held the rabbit there.
Yeah.
Put that through my hand.
It's been a bad week, hasn't it?
It's been a very bad week.
Yeah.
Might as well be dead.
Tetanus.
I've had a tetanus.
Yeah.
That hurts as well.
We feel very sorry for you, all of us do, Malcolm. Thanks for sharing.